Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? It's Rusty from Porky's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. But then again, you know that, don't you? Because that's why you've tuned in. First of all, I want to point out that there's a link below on the comment section for all those people who are saying they don't know how to join the members area. It's £5.99 per month. YouTube take 30%. And what we do is put that money back into production. There's a video on tonight, 8 o'clock, and then there's elements. So that's what we're doing. As it grows, there'll be more production videos. I'll just point out it's a non-profit making channel. All right. Secondly, I want to point out that anybody who's fed up with paying out for boxing subscriptions like DAZN, BT Sports, Sky, Fight Zone, things like that, Box Nation, email me, porkycorner@mail.com. I will send you a free link. How's about that? Today I'm joined by Charlie from, where are you from, Charlie?
Hiya, Porky. I'm just from Northern Ireland, just about 30 miles north of Belfast, so I'm Irish.
All right, and you're not wrong with that, mate. It's a beautiful country. Away you go then, Charlie. The floor is yours. You've been having sending me emails wanting to come on, so you've got your debut. So how do you feel about that? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm grand, yeah. First time doing this sort of thing, so go easy on me, Porky, please.
Yeah, okay. Go on then. What would you like to talk about, Charlie?
Yeah, so just kick us off, just a quick intro. Obviously, my name's Charlie. Big fan of boxing for quite a number of years now. Probably been following the sport for about 30 odd years. First real memory of boxing was back in the 90s, the era of the Bens, the Eubanks, the Watsons, kind of like quite a magic era for the sport, especially over in England. I'm sure you can agree on that one.
Yeah.
I personally never boxed myself, but I have had one white collar fight, which was enough for me at the time. But yeah, just a family that's sort of big fans of watching boxing. So to get onto the boxing, I suppose I'll kick us off with the Irish theme and the current batch of prospects we've got here. Kind of the more recent ones like your Conlons and your Stevie McKenna's. Just wondering what you think about that batch that we've got over here at the minute, Porky.
I think Conlon's a good fighter, and I think that McKenna's a good fighter. Yeah, I think they'll do well. I think they're dedicated. What do you think? Do you think they've got good trainers? Do you think they'll go away?
I've got to be honest. I don't know much about the trainers. They seem to have stayed loyal to their, they haven't gone to sort of big name trainers. Although, in saying that, Conlon I think is with Booth, isn't he?
Adam Booth.
So that is quite.
Go to Adam Booth. Sorry about that. Every time somebody mentions Adam Booth to me and I'm in a pub, I always go into full Adam Booth mode. Sorry, Adam.
No worries. But yeah, I think particularly McKenna, he's a little bit raw. He kind of comes forward and sort of leaves his chin in the air a little bit. And that might have to be addressed. But I think he particularly he's got a whack. He's got a bit of whack, and he seems to have power, and he's stopping a lot of his opponents. And new contract with Channel 5. I think out of the crop, he's the guy that could be sort of winning versions of the world title.
What's the current situation over there in Ireland with boxing? Is it all banned all the way through professional boxing?
Yeah, certainly no dates appearing on online. Porky at the minute, it looks to be very quiet here. Quiet my local town. They were supposed to have like an anniversary fight night at our local hotel here, and that's all been kicked out until next year. So pretty quiet still here. In fact, very very quiet since Carl Frampton's retired. Those sort of glory days of filling out stadiums have gone.
Does he live near you, Carl Frampton?
Yeah, well, not a million miles away. I say I'm from Ballymena, a small town just outside Belfast, and obviously Belfast is the area where Carl's from. So yeah, everything's quite near in Northern Ireland because we're a small country.
He's from Tiger Bay, isn't he?
He is, yeah, he is. That's where he was born and bred, and where he came up and got into boxing. It's quite a tough area of Belfast, yeah. Yeah, that's
Okay.
true.
What else would you like to talk about, Charlie?
Just on the Frampton subject,
Yeah.
why do you think his career kind of changed? Do you believe? I know you always talk a lot about the McGuigans, all their faults, all their failings, all their good points, bad points. A lot of these good top level fighters were built from the ground up by Shane McGuigan.
Yeah.
But do you think Frampton was just nearing the end of his career, or do you think there was a thing there that he shifted to Jamie Moore and that changed things, or what's your personal opinion?
Well, I don't want to get into all that where they went to court and that because he settled out of court, didn't he? So they've come to an agreement. So that I'm not interested in all that. Looking at it from the outset, I think he just got old. I think he just got old, and Santa Cruz, when Santa Cruz beat him, I thought it was downhill after then. And I thought maybe Frampton were looking, first you're angry when you get beat, then you're upset, and then you're looking to blame somebody. And I think that maybe Shane McGuigan got blamed, maybe he shouldn't have done. But don't forget Frampton when we MTK won it. And Jamie Moore is an MTK trainer, and he gets looked after by them. I mean, he took a bullet for him, didn't he? The big fella. So he's going to get looked after by MTK, and he's going to take MTK fighters on, isn't he? So that's how I looked at it. But I don't think Jamie Moore did a bad job at Carl Frampton. I don't think he did a bad job at all. Yeah. I think he was just coming to end, and I don't think they could get any more out of him. They run what they could out of him, I think, and I think he knew it was time to go. And he's had a great career. And he's a nice fellow, isn't he, Carl Frampton? He comes across pretty affable and well spoken, and he's seems a decent family man. And I tip my hat to Carl Frampton. I was a big Carl Frampton fan. But time waits for no man, doesn't it? So I looked at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you have a certain style of fighting, where you're heart in your sleeve and you come forward, time runs out a lot faster on those sort of guys. Well,
Carl Frampton's got short arms, hasn't he? So he's always going to take punishment in it or being close and that. He's not like Tyson Fury on outside all the time, staying out of danger, is he? Tyson will have a long career, I think, if he looks after himself. Frampton's career, a bit like Mike Tyson's, it was always going to be over quickly, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean?
That's right, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, it brings me into the next topic, and that's the I'm sure you've talked this one to death with everybody, but the heavyweight mix, the current heavyweight mix.
It's a joke, isn't it? How could the balls all this up? It's a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's all up in the air at the minute. Are we going to see what we think we're going to see? Are we going to see AJ versus Usyk? Are we going to see Wilder versus Fury?
I don't believe any of it. I don't believe any of it nowadays. Till they're in the ring. I look at them all as not. It's not happening. This is how I look at it, right? Line them all up on a lineup, right? They're all in court and they're all giving evidence to defend somebody. So you're on the jury. So let's look at the lineup. We've got Bob Arum, who comes out with one-liners like, yesterday I was lying, today I'm telling the truth. We've got Eddie Hearn, who's a lying machine. Frank Warren, who's been sued God knows how many times, and had more complaints put in about him over the years. and you've got Tyson Fury talking about a man here who just lies on the spot. Work your way across the line. We've got Wilder, who's away with fairies. Al Heyman, who you can't get a word out of. Right? So work your way across all that lot there. And who would you believe out? Oh, throw Anthony Joshua into it, mate. Who would you believe out them lot? You probably think that Joshua's probably the best guy at lot, but he's a convicted drug dealer. So out of all of them, in a court of law, they'd be ripped to shreds, wouldn't they? And we have to believe them lot who are manipulating the media every single day, with the friends on YouTube, the friends at newspaper places, manipulating the media. This is what these people do. For example, look at John Fury. He's called any man out over 50. Mickey Field said, yeah, I accept. We've got footage of him getting knocked out, which you've seen on my channel. The man's gone into hiding. He then bounces back day before yesterday, right, taking a few kids off pads saying he wants to give back to community, which is fantastic. But let's see John Fury do it every day at week, like Stu Curry does in Manchester, like Joe Gallagher does with his gym, like Glyn Rhodes, like Richard Towers, like John Fuchs, Dominic Ingle. Let's see him do it like that every single day. Russ Gerrard at West Ham. Let's see him do it every single day, not just turning up for a bit of PR. Let's hope it ain't PR and he means what he's saying, but taking kids on pad and being on BBC News. Let's see him do it every day at a boxing club. You mind just once in a while, just to polish your image up, because you've got a tour coming up, you know, an evening with John Fury, the Truth Tour. Biggest load of rubbish I've ever seen in my life. So let's hope he is genuine and sincere. But I don't believe it, because once you tell me a lie, anything else you say after that, no good to me. But like I've just said, line all that lot up and then throw John Fury into the mix as well. You wouldn't believe any of them, would you? And a court of law won't. So whoever's in dock, they're going to walk, aren't they? With all that lot lined up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's how I look at it. I break it down into layman terms. If anybody's got a problem, they're more than welcome on the channel. But that's how I break it down. I don't believe anything no more that I hear in the sport of boxing. I don't believe it. So-and-so is going to fight so-and-so. Well, let's see then. Let's see, because I had over 5 years listening to Dennis. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Well, Dennis, well, you said this 3 months ago, what we're doing with this. Oh, you didn't get back to me. It's not the people at fault, it's the industry as a whole. And I'm hoping to change all that by calling them out on the rubbish. How about that? Because nobody else is going to say, oh, will they? Because they all want access and they all want to do views and they all want to be everybody's pal. Well, that's how I look at it. Anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's like Uzek's promoter said when he was questioned yesterday about the fight and what percentage are you confident is going to happen, and he said exactly like you've just said there, Porky. I'm not confident anything's going to happen until I see the two guys in the ring.
Exactly. Listen, let me tell you this, right? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Robert McCracken told a very good pal of mine, we don't want Wilder for Joshua. We don't want Usyk, and we don't want Luis Ortiz. Eddie Hearn signed Luis Ortiz to keep him away from Joshua as a blocker. He signed Usyk to keep him away from Joshua as a blocker. April 2017 on Sky, they told us Wilder were going to fight the winner of Joshua Vladimir. Joshua beat Vladimir. Where's Wilder versus Joshua? They flew him over first class, didn't they, Sky, to be a pundit? We've been nowhere near Wilder. These people are born liars. They're manipulating the fans. These casuals, they're the problem, not our cause. The casuals, they're the problem. They're manipulating everybody. And then they just spin another story, and then they get in the Rolls Royces, go back to the mansions, and they laugh. They laugh at people like us. They laugh. So enough's enough, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, and even on a separate note, Dylan White, I mean, how is that possible? You can be #1 contender for the WBC belt and never actually fight for the WBC title. I mean, it's no wonder so many boxing fans are moving to watch UFC fights now.
Yeah. Dylan White's looking for his 7th pay-per-view, and he's not been in a European title fight yet. He didn't want to fight Caballero. He didn't want to fight Luis Ortiz. He knocked Joshua rematch back. He don't mention Ergovic's name. He didn't even dream about Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce ain't got a dance partner. Dylan White ain't got a dance partner. Call Joe Joyce out. Frank Warren will take that fight in a heartbeat. Why don't Dylan White call Joe Joyce out? Why not? Why not?
I mean, yeah, 100% right. I mean, and that I think you've hit the nail on the head. There's so many players now in boxing, so many different avenues, so many different ways to go. That I was chatting earlier about the golden era of the 90s. You just saw those fights. Those fights were made because you had a few men that probably ran the sport. I don't know. I'm not involved as much as you, but those fights just happened. There was no messing about, as you say. They just happened. Yeah. What do you think of Triple D, Dubois' move to get trained by Shane McGuigan?
Well, I think it's ideal for him for location. And Shane's an up-and-coming trainer, and he's got a good CV. So I think it's ideal for him. I'm gutted he's not with Martins, but looking at it from the outside looking in, I think his dad might get too involved. I've heard stories that his dad's been getting involved up at the EIS over here with his Dubois' sister who's in the GB team. I've heard the dad goes up there and he's trying to advise them on what needs to be done and this and that. And fathers who take the kids to gyms should take them and then go and pick them up, because you're trusting somebody to work with your kid. So leave it to the experts, the people with the badges. That's how I look at it, and stay out of the gyms. The dad shouldn't get involved. They don't let parents, I believe, watch kids' school matches now, do they, at schools, stuff like that. They don't in our area. I don't know about your area, but because they get too involved. Parents should trust them with the kids. I think he should stay out of Dubois' career. Obviously, he must have agreed for him to fight Joe Joyce, which, looking back in hindsight now, were a bad move, wasn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I was one of the maybe guys that picked Dubois, but then again, you can get carried away on the hype train, you know, and you start to believe the hype, don't you?
Yeah,
and you don't break it down that someone needs experience, you know.
Yeah, well, this is how I look at it, right? Shane McGuigan's a good move for Daniel Dubois. It's location, and he's a bit older than Daniel, and I think they'll get a good repertoire. But look what he's done with Lawrence Okoli. I mean, he's actually made Lawrence Okoli not exciting, but I'm sort of kind of like, you know what? I'm going to watch Lawrence Okoli from now on. Whereas before, after that Matty Askin fight, I couldn't bring myself to get on the Lawrence Okoli express train or hype train. Couldn't do it. But now I can. Yeah. So Shane McGuigan's done well.
Absolutely, yeah. He's now, I suppose, stopping guys and knocking guys out.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up probably the biggest name in boxing at the moment, Canelo. Do you see anyone that's going to come close to touching Canelo if everything's fair?
Yeah, beat a beat. You can't go and beat Kovalev at 175 and then not go do beat a beat. If he finishes the 168-pound off and ends up undisputed after he beats Caleb Plant, he's got to go after Peterbia then. He's got to do. Got to do. He might be waiting till he gets a bit older, actually. He's 37,
yeah.
But he'd have to fight
That's
him.
Right, yeah.
I'd like to see him fight Callum Johnson as well. I think that'd be a good fight at 175. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's a good fight, yeah.
Yeah, Callum Johnson's great fighter actually. Yeah. I suppose the next thing I want to chat about is, okay, it's the whole, is pay-per-view about to die? Is pay-per-view dead? Especially, obviously we can't chat about the logistics and all, but it looks like these streaming services are starting to really lift off, and the likes of DAZN, Fitty, Triller, is Sky, is Sky going to be a thing of the past in terms of following boxing?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope they all end up redundant and not dole and go into food banks, all them at Sky.
Yeah,
I know that's harsh, but I'm only saying what people in pubs say. They're just not going to say it on camera, are they? Yeah, I hope they all get made redundant, a lot of them.
Yeah. It's a changing world, definitely. What's your opinion on these YouTubers? These guys that are calling out, like Tommy Fury, these guys that are actually not fighting boxers. They're just fighting retired UFC fighters.
Well, what this does, it shows us who in the boxing industry is greedy. I mean, Tommy Fury is fighting a guy next, Norton 14. So he's fighting a guy who's not had a win. Right, another one who hasn't had a win. And he's just trying to build up an undefeated record until that fight comes round, the Jake Paul fight. He's going to try and use his social media popularity, because he's been on a program called Love Island. He's going to try and use that to get himself in the mix for a big fight, get millions in bank and stick two fingers up at boxing fans. They don't care for boxing. He cares for himself. He don't care for the sport of boxing. But these YouTubers, as far as I'm concerned, they want running out of sport, because sooner or later somebody's going to get hurt. I don't agree with anything Tony Bellew said, but this, I agree with him. He said somebody's going to get hurt, and I believe it. When does it end, all this? Where does it end? I don't know. But
yeah,
what do you think?
Kind of in agreement with you. And I'm not just saying that to agree with you. I've obviously involved in boxing. I've had a white collar fight, and I've sparred, and I've went home with the headaches after a bit of sparring, and we're talking little bit of sparring, and I think these guys, there's going to be a tragedy, and they're going to do something about it whenever it's too late, and let's hope that's not the case. But as you say, unless they nip it in the bud soon, it's eventually they're going to step up and they're going to fight a really strong boxer, these guys, and someone's going to get hurt, as you say. But I suppose that brings me to kind of my closing points and what I've got here for you. But
Go on.
I'm always interested in eras, eras and fight eras, and I'm just going to throw a couple of names at you here and see what your opinion is. Prince Nazim versus Barry McGuigan.
80s versus 90s, noughties. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Well, Nas said that he'd knocked Barry McGuigan's Sparko, didn't he? Back in the day. And I think a peak Barry McGuigan who fought Pedrosa would have dusted Nas. Over 15 rounds, would have drowned him late on. That's what I personally think. I think when Barry McGuigan won the world title in 1985, I thought it was sublime. I thought it was the best thing I'd ever seen. I thought it was a real... I had a Barry McGuigan poster on my wall. I don't know if you remember this. I went to comprehensive school from 1983 onwards, a month before I was 13. And I think it was about 1985, 86. I had an Adidas Cagoule. Barry McGuigan. I had a big, massive poster of Barry McGuigan on the wall at home. And he was sponsored by Adidas, however you want to call it. And he was a massive hero of mine. And I thought then that he was going to be a superstar. He sort of retired at 28, didn't he? Which kind of upset me really. But yeah, he didn't have no longevity. I don't know if it were because he got involved in all that stuff outside of boxing, suing people and that. He always seemed to be in court over issues and stuff like that. And that's how boxing can get you at times. I think he sued Barney Eastwood twice and lost twice. He's just had a stalemate with Frampton. I don't think he's had much luck with courts and that, but as regards a fighter, pure fighting machine, I thought what he did for your country were fantastic. And he used to say, didn't it, leave the fighting to McGuigan. So I thought he was brilliant. That night at Queen's Park Rangers when he fought Pedrosa, well, let's have it right. It had 20 defences, hadn't he, at the time, pound for pound. McGuigan won, didn't he? So,
yeah.
I felt that he got him at the right time, but what a fight that was. And like I said, he was a superstar after that, wasn't he, Barry McGuigan, especially in your country, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. Open top buses and the streets of Belfast packed. Yeah.
So.
And what about Joe Calzaghe versus Roy Jones, but a peak Roy Jones of the early 90s or mid 90s?
See, whatever I say here now, because I'm Team Carl Froch, China, so whatever I say here now, I'm going to get hammered. But I think a peak Roy Jones and a peak Calzaghe, I think Roy Jones runs over him. Because Roy Jones never lost a round for years, did he? Won every round, did he, for years? Do you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, Roy Jones' peak at 168 runs over him. No messing about.
Yeah, good stuff. I actually agree with those points as well, because I think Naz was well managed and
very well managed. Very well managed, very well matched. WBO, innit? He started with WBO, he picked up other world titles, but that WBO route, it was pretty weak then, wasn't it, back in the day? In my opinion, I felt it was weak. So, but yeah, nice. So, is that it?
I think that's pretty much all from me for a.
All right then. Well, listen, thank you for coming on, Charlie. Obviously, I can tell you're a little bit nervous, shaking, shake, rattle, and roll. Don't worry about it, Charlie. We'll make a regular of you. Before long, you'll be like your countryman Kent. You'll be firing on all cylinders. I don't have him on all the time now, you know, Kent, because he knows more than me. Can't be having that, can I? No, he's a good guy, Ken. Ken, I know you're watching. Let me know when you're available and we'll get you back on. All right, but thanks for coming on, Charlie. All the best for you and your family for the future, and have a great weekend. How about
that? Stay safe, Porky. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was Charlie from Northern Ireland. Could tell he was a bit fragile or nervous, or I don't know, making his debut, but at least he has got the gonads to do it, to come on here. You know, there's a lot of people have a lot to say on this channel, especially in the comment section, but a lot of them don't even come on, so it's a pity more don't want to come on, but it'd be nice to get some new blood in. But thanks for coming on. Chris Ward, give me a text. Chris Ward, what's happened to you? You're in hiding. Come on, Chris, let's have you on. But yeah, I enjoyed that with Charlie. It's 10:35, so we'll get this sorted now, and then we'll get ready for 11 o'clock one. All right, thank you for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. And most of all, thank you for sharing the video with your pals on WhatsApp. All right, it only takes a couple of minutes to send it to your pals and ask them to share it and grow the Porky legend and make my head get bigger than it already is. Or as Dennis Hobson keeps telling people, I created a monster with Russell. Is that what you did, Dennis? Create a monster? Well, you never paid me, did you? All right. Peace out.